Good morning, students. So, in the lecture series of object-oriented programming using C++, I've already discussed about inheritance concept in C++ in part 8. So, in this, again, I want to give more idea or basic concept in inheritance in C++ because it is one of the important concepts. So, in this class also, I want to remind you some basic concept of inheritance. So please mind about what is inheritance. So inheritance is the process by which new classes called derived classes are created from existing classes called base classes. So the derived classes have all its features of the base class, and the programmer can choose to add new features specific to the newly created derived class. So the idea of inheritance implements a relationship. For example, mammal is a animal, dog is a mammal, hence dog is a animal, as well as so on. So this is what is inheritance. So all mammals have certain characteristics. So mammal is a base class, then dog is a mammal, so it is another derived class, and this is a cat. Cat is a mammal. All it has all features of mammal in addition to its own unique features. So in this way we have two base class from one derived two derived class from one base class. So features of inheritance and advantages of inheritance: reusability of code, save time and effort, faster development, easier maintenance, and easy to extend. So capable of expressing the inheritance relationship and its transitive nature, which ensures closeness with real world problems. So the syntax, how we define inheritance, how we define a derived class from base class. So syntax is class, derived class, colon, access specifier, and base class. So this is start and end, where access specifier is either any of the public, protected, or private. So syntax, for example, if the base class is animal and the derived class is amphibians, so it is specified then as the syntax implies class animal base class. So we define first base class, then we class amphibian, which is derived from the class base class animal in public visibility mode. So the class name, in this way we can define the derived class. So in this example, class amphibian have access to both public and protected member of a base class animal. So a class can be derived from more than one class, which means it can inherit data and functions from multiple base classes. So access control and inheritance. How access control and inheritance: a derived class can access all protected and public member of its base class. It can also access private member of the base class. It cannot access private member of the base class. So private member cannot inherit it. So protected member can be inherited and public member can be inherited. So it is the base class. So it is the derived class. So this is the scenario how derived class inherits its properties from the base class. Now access control and inheritance, if we see, we can summarize the different access types according to who can access them in the following ways: access same class, access public, protected, and private. So same class, public yes, protected yes, and private yes. So derived class, then public and protected member can be accessed in the derived class, but private members cannot be accessed. So outside the class, public member can be accessed, but protected and private member cannot be accessed. So remember, constructors and destructor of the base class are never inherited. So movability modes and inheritance: the child class can inherit base class in two ways. So private, protected and public visibility mode, so inheritance type, and member base class, members of base class. So private not inherited become private of the side class and become private of the side class. So if privately inherited, then private member is not inherited, but protected and public member of the base class become private and become private of the side class. So protected, if protectedly dependent not inherited, private members are not inherited, then protected and public member becomes protected members of the child class, and protected public members also become protected members of the child class. If publicly we define a derived class, then not inherited private members are not inherited, but protected members are become protected to the derived class, and public members are become public members of the derived class. So multilevel inheritance, you can see here private, this is the base class, private, protected and public, and this is the side class, private, protected and public. So here public member become private, protected member become private, and private members cannot be inherited. So in private inheritance, if protected inheritance, then base class, the protected and public member become private members of the base class, derived class, and here again public member become public and protected member protected if publicly inherited. So private inheritance, in private inheritance, protected and public member of the base class become the private member of the derived class. So base class, if we define, so privately inherited, it is why protected and public member of the base class become private member of the derived class. In this way you can see this is the base class, private integer a for functions, protected integer b for functions, public integer c for functions. So this 3 member functions and 3 members, 2 are private, 2 are protected and 2 are public. So in child, if child is derived privately from the base class, then private integer x function x, protected integer y function y, private integer z, public integer z. In child class, so private x function x, so protected member inherited from the base class, so private member become b for it and c for it functions, and protected member y for it and public z. So all here, so you see the public and protected member here, base class, protected and public member become private here. So it is the example. Now protected inheritance, so you see in protected inheritance, suppose base class is defined in this way: private integer a for function a, protected integer b for function b, public integer c for function c, and side class is derived from the base class protected visibility method. So private integer x for x, protected integer y for function y, public integer z function z. So the child class, now child class become private, so integer x for protected become protected members are actually incremented because b and c of here protected and by public and protected member become protected here. Okay, now in third we see public inheritance. So similar base class is defined with private visible integer a for function a, protected integer b for function b, public integer C void function C. And publicly inherited the child class, again publicly inherited from the base class. So private integer X void function X, protected integer Y void function Y, public integer Z void function Z. So when it is publicly inherited, then the base class becomes private members will be the same, protected member you see the protected member of the base class become protected member of the child class. So B is added here, and public member of the base class become public member of the derived class. So in this is it, C, this is the scenario. So protected member of inherited from the base class and public member inherited from the base class. Now come to types of inheritance. There are 5 types of inheritance: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and hybrid inheritance. So single inheritance is one where we have single base class and single derived class. So class A, class B, so it is a base class, so B is derived from the class A. So single inheritance, if we see student and course, so course is derived class and public base class is student. So we define first student as base class, it is private members, this name, mark, protectedly, result, public, student, constructor, void, enroll, and display. So course is publicly inherited from the student. So long course code, character, course name, public, course, void, comments, and course details. Similarly, multi-level inheritance. In multi-level inheritance, a subclass inherits from a class that itself inherits from another class. So you see the base class A from A, B is derived from class A, again C is derived from class B. So it is multi-level inheritance. So it is a base class superclass B, it is subclass A, base class C, derived class B. Now similarly, multi-level inheritance, you can see furniture is a derived, it is a base class. So this is the members, and sofa is publicly inherited from furniture, and office is privately inherited from sofa. So this is the multi-level inheritance. So finally we have offices inherited from sofa, again sofa is inherited from furniture. So multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, a derived class inherits from multiple base class. It has properties of both of the base classes. So class A and class B base classes, we derive a class C from both base classes. This is multiple inheritance. Here chairperson and director is derived from the base class company. Their base class to base class, chairperson and director and company is derived privately from this. In hierarchical inheritance, it's like a inverted tree, so multiple classes inherits from a single base class. So this is a base class. So again, class B, class C, and class D subclasses derived. So and this way you can have the hierarchical inheritance. So this three structure inheritance. So B, C, and D are inherited from the this is how Now here class toy is a base class, and soft toys publicly inherited from toys, and electronic toys publicly inherited from toys. So two derived classes inherit from the one base class. This is hierarchical inheritance. So hybrid means combining two or more types of inheritance. In this type inheritance we can see have a mixture number of inheritance. So here you see class A base class B and C inherited from class A, and B is again inherited from base class B and C. So this is hybrid. So constructor and destructor in a base and derived classes. So derived classes can have their own constructors and destructors. When an object of a derived class is created, the base class constructor is executed first, followed by the derived class constructor. So when an object of a derived class goes out of scope, its destructor is called first, then that of the base class. So remember, this is important points to note. Setting the size of the object while calculating the size of the object of the child class, add the size of all data members of the base class, including the private members of the base class and child class. So if the child class is inheriting from the multiple base classes, add the size of data members of all base classes and the child class. In case of multi-level inheritance, the size of all base classes directly and indirectly inherited by the child class is added to the size of the child class data members. So member accessible to the object of the child class. So only public member of a new modified child class, that is derived class, are accessible to the object of the child class. So member accessible to the function of the child class. So all members, public, protected and private, of a new modified child class after inheritance are accessible to the function of the child class. So passing argument to base class constructor. So if a base class is parameterized constructor, then it is duty of a child class to pass the parameter for the base class constructor also at the time of creation of objects. So if you see, we define a class student, private, roll number, marks, protected, result, public, base class constructor, so character name and flat marks. So for example, these are the member functions. Now if class course is publicly inherited from the student, so long course code, course name, then it is by default private, public course long cc, written name, flat marks, and student character name and flat. So child class constructor. So void comments, and this is, and course one is you see 01 cs. Now this base class constructor, here base class constructor is actually this constructor inherits from the base class constructor. So with this I conclude my class today. I think you all understand the class. Thank you.